Hello Star Wars fans, welcome to episode 1 of Journey into Legends. Today we are going to be talking about Splinter of the Mind's Eye by Alan Dean Foster. Released in 1978, Splinter of the Mind's Eye was originally written as a low-budget sequel to Star Wars, in the case that it was a box office failure. I'm super excited to start reading this book. The cover art is absolutely gorgeous, and I've heard it's a self-contained story, so it'll be perfect to begin our EU journey. So without further ado, let's read and review. Alright, I have read the book, which means it's time to review it. Starting with my non-spoiler review. This was a super entertaining and easy to read book. Alan Dean Foster's writing is rich and full of vocabulary that makes it quick to fly through. Although it was a fun read, I have quite a few issues with it, particularly with the way the characters are portrayed. Before continuing on with the video, I'm going to issue a spoiler warning for anybody that wants to read the book. Click away now. Like I said, this book was a lot of fun to read. Foster's writing style made for a breezy read-through, and the story was more character-driven, which made for an easy segue into the EU. Unfortunately, one of the main issues I had with this book was the characterization. I don't blame Foster for the way he portrayed certain characters. All he had for a reference was A New Hope. That doesn't mean Luke and Leia playing in the mud like school children, or Vader constantly filling the silence with mockery and banter was any less glaring. Character issues aside, another big issue with this book is the way it has aged. Unfortunately for Foster, this book has retroactively been made worse by future installments. A budding romance between Luke and Leia may have been fitting in 1978, but once George Lucas made the decision to turn them into siblings, all of a sudden, Luke daydreaming about kissing a sleeping Leia got so much weirder. My biggest issue with this book is the confrontation between Darth Vader, Luke, and Leia. I've never been a fan of Luke and Vader fighting before The Empire Strikes Back, and while this came out prior to the movie and was originally meant to be its replacement, the fact that this encounter is still considered canon is disappointing, and makes their confrontation in Empire slightly less impactful. The biggest problem with this duel, however, is that Vader loses. That's right, the duel ends with Luke cutting Vader's arm off, and Vader falls into an abyss. Was there any alternative? Was there any way for Luke and Leia to simply escape Vader's grasp? Maybe not, which is another reason why I think this duel should have never happened in the first place. Moving away from the negatives, here are some more positives. The book introduces some new characters. Hala, a Force-sensitive elderly woman with a feisty attitude, was a joy to read about, and two drunk Yuzum named Hin and Ki were a suitable downgrade from Chewbacca. Unfortunately, Hin and Ki were killed by Vader, but I would have loved to see more of Hala in the future. The main antagonist for most of the book is an Imperial Captain Supervisor named Grammel, who had a very fearsome reputation. His character was an interesting foil to the protagonist, and his death was satisfying and was used to boost Vader up, which is a good thing. The book's story was a bit stale, though. A mix of misadventures and a particularly stale MacGuffin plotline. Luckily, the book spent more time developing the characters over the plot. So, it's time to rate this book. I respect everything this book is, but it has some glaring issues, and is clearly a product of its time. With all this in mind, I've decided to give this book a generous 71%. It lacks substance, and it contributes very little to the overall story of the expanded universe, but it is definitely worth the read. Thank you guys for watching. Tell me in the comments what you thought about this book. Would you have liked to see it adapted to the big screen? Stay tuned for the next episode of Journey into Legends, where we'll take a look at the original Star Wars comic run by Marvel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.